Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Sevens. This one to determine 5th place in the overall Olympic standing. So far, we have seen 11th playoff game that did take place, and Uruguay got themselves the win. We saw the 9th place game, I should say, playing, and that was the Kenyans who got themselves the win over Samoa. The 7th place has just come to a close, and it is Argentina who find themselves in 7th, and now it will be determined in this game who will be finishing in the 5th place. But looking through at New Zealand's starting lineup, it will be Scott Curry, Tony Nashu getting himself some starting minutes here. Normally has been the man coming off the bench throughout this Olympics campaign. Akulio Rokalisoa, Dylan Collier, Moses Leo, Leroy Carter, and also Joe Webber, the last man. And at the starting side for the Irish Sevens, it will be Jack Kelly, Harry McNulty, Mark Roach, Shane Mullins, Hugo Keenan, Terry Kennedy, and also Mullen, the last man. And their starting side, but this one is only a few minutes away from taking place. It is the prelim of the bronze medal final that will be taking place between South Africa and Australia. And then after that, of course, the main event, Fiji versus France, the Olympic gold medalists versus the hosts. It's going to be an entertaining game when that one also does take place. But do let me know your score predictions in the chat, ladies and gentlemen, for this contest. For me, I feel like with how close Ireland have been multiple times, surely this one is the one where they get themselves the win over New Zealand. It was heartbreaking for them in the group stage when they came all so close, just to have New Zealand sneak it at the final moment as well. But so far, there have been not too many upsets, I guess you could say, overall in the Olympic standings for the Sevens. Hi, Hamish says, Nikki, welcome in. Hope you are doing extremely well. Hi, all, and Hamish says, Robert there as well. It is great to see all you guys tuning in, no matter what hour it is, where you are in the world. Currently 4:30 a.m. here in New Zealand almost. That is why my eyes are so bloodshot, but we have loved the action all throughout this weekend. Think New Zealand will take this game, says Aniki. I think it will be very close, though, between these two sides. If that was the case, let's go the Black Ferns, says Sohan. And there as well. And of course, they are going to be in action tomorrow. We will be continuing with the Sevens action all throughout the next 3 days, where we do, instead of covering the men's, of course, we will be covering the women's, seeing as the men's will come to a close. New Zealand, they won all their games so far, except for the quarterfinal up against the South Africans when they were defeated by 7 points. Brilliant defence from South Africa in that game. New Zealand weren't able to get it through that defensive line, and it was heartbreaking for them as they felt like they were a real shot of getting a medal. Looks like it is still raining a little bit, but not as badly as it was earlier on in the contest. There are a lot of French flags in the stands, of course, waiting for their home side in that grand final. But New Zealand and Ireland just about to make their way out of the tunnels. Like I mentioned, starting lineups, New Zealand, it is Scott Curry, Tony Nashu, Akurio Rokalisoa, Dylan Collier, Moses Leo, Leroy Carter, and also Joe Webber. Then for the Irish, Jack Kelly, Harry McNulty, Mark Roach, Shane Mullins, Hugo Keenan, Terry Kennedy, and also Mullen there at number 14. You will notice I didn't say Mullen's first name twice in a row. That is because I know it starts with a B, but I'm not sure what it is. I think it's Bevan, but I could be wrong. So we are about to see him make his way out of the tunnel, and we will be able to correct our little error there. Joe Webber, experienced man for New Zealand. Same with Scott Curry. Same with Dylan Collier. You wonder whether or not this will be their last. It is Brian, not Bevan. So close, only a few letters away. But Brian Mullen, the last man in this starting lineup. Argentina 19-0, USA 7th and 8th place, says Gus. So yeah, so far in the order, it is 12 Japan, 11 Uruguay, 10 Samoa, 9 Kenya, 8 USA, 7 Argentina, and then this one will determine 6 and 5 for the overall order of the standings. But the referees running out onto the field, 5th place playoff game between these two sides. Terry Kennedy, he will be fired up. Wants to have a big performance here up against New Zealand. He did the last time that the two sides played. We have Gadea. I've remembered my forward pass theory. I'm putting it on the Rugby Geeks. Says Flesh in there, so we will give it a look at halftime in this contest. Flesh in. I don't think we've had as many forward passes in the last 2 days, have we? Day one was shocking for the amount of forward passes that did happen. Day 2 wasn't too bad, but I don't think it's been too bad in the wet conditions, mainly because of how much the ball has already been dropped. And come on, New Zealand, says Razor Robinson, but it will be a Kulia Rokalesoa to kick this one off for New Zealand. Does decide to go with a short kickoff and nicely claimed by Harry McNulty. Mark Roach are currently on their own 22 here for the Irish. No Jordan Conroy in the starting lineup for Ireland here. Here comes Hugo Keenan. Oh, big shot coming in on him by Tony Nashu. Took about 3 shots like he was in a pinball machine there. Rokalesoa is daddy, says JDB. I don't think he's that old, unless you're like 7 maybe. That's going to be a nice attack and run. Zach Ward got it off to Mark Roach. It's going to be play on, but he's knocked it on. The final moment. Frustration for Ireland, as that was their perfect chance to get off this match on a high. It was a rough pass, and he just grubbers it forward there, Mark Roach. We have got the SP, says Bonyface, and there as well. But just out of the hands. We've seen that quite a bit throughout this day anyway of the Sevens. A lot of handling errors from the wet conditions, certainly different to what we've seen on other days. Although the later stages of day 2, we did start to see a little bit of that rain start to kick in. New Zealand now to feed this ball, and it will be a Kulia Rokalesoa again. Going to the right-hand side. Only 10 metres out. Leroy Carter bumps off Hugo Keenan. Boy, he's had a tough start to this match. He's had about 3 big shots put on him already. Tony Nashu can come play 15s for the Blues, says Razor. Although we did see a Sevens player transition to the Blues, and he hardly got any game time. That being Caleb Tangitau. Wonder what kind of impact he could have had for New Zealand in this Olympics competition. Nice step from Joe Webber. Up the middle, finds the hands of Dylan Collier. Tackled by Terry Kennedy. Eventually manages to wrestle him to the turf. Scott Curry now off to the right-hand side to Joe Webber. Inside ball to Rokalesoa. Gets it away to Curry again. Little flick out the back door to Leroy Carter. And he will score the try for New Zealand. And that'll be their first try of the matchup. Scott Curry with the little flick out the back door with the pass. When is Moses Leo coming to 15s? Maybe soon. I don't know. To be honest, there are a few of these guys on the Sevens circuit who I believe will stick with Sevens and just remain as a Sevens player rather than switch in between them. And I rate Nashu more than Tangitau. To be honest, Tangitau is a youngster though. He'll get more time in the future, says Razor Robinson. Yeah, I guess if there are going to be players moving overseas for the Blues in that backline, perhaps we will get to see him have more opportunities sooner rather than later. That kick is missed from New Zealand, so that will keep the score at 5-0 in favour of the Kiwis. Now, the next game that we are covering, ladies and gentlemen, it will be the matchup taking place between South Africa and Australia. That is the bronze medal final. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button, as we are also doing the final that is taking place after that. And that is going to be between Fiji and also the French. A $50 bet on New Zealand, says Mokona. I assume that is, when I saw the odds, New Zealand were about $1.40, I want to say. So, quick maths, that's going to be hard to do, like a $10 gain or $20 gain, in fact, it would be for yourself. Are you doing the women's also? We are indeed. We probably won't end up doing as many of the matches for the women's sevens, but we will certainly be doing the crucial games for New Zealand, for South Africa, Fiji, etc. throughout that competition. No. Okay, so what is the return on that one then, Makona? And let's go the Black Ferns, says Sohan. No woman. Oh, no, he wasn't asking about the bet. He was asking whether we would do in the commentary, Makona, I think. Now Terry Kennedy going back across to the right-hand side. Hamish Simasoni or Cody is starting hooker, says JDB. See, Cody Taylor for me hasn't been in the best form, but then Taukeiaho is injured, so you kind of have to go with Cody until he's not injured. Asafa Moore could be a decent option, though, in the starting lineup. Going to the right-hand side, Terry Kennedy now. Hugo Keenan going across there to Harry McNulty as they move up to the 22 here. And New Zealand with Leroy Carter. Look for the turnover. Wasn't quite able to get it. Terry Kennedy thought about the inside ball, but goes on the outside instead to Zach Ward. And also just do the New Zealand, Australia, GB, France, and Canada games. What about Fiji, Razor? That is going to be the penalty. This looks like a bad injury here for Zach Ward. It looks like an upper quad or a groin here. He takes him down. Not actually sure where the injury comes for Zach Ward. So he goes from asking for a penalty to then having an injury of some sort. Who's your favourite AB? In what regard? Like, is in the All Blacks Sevens, or are we talking actual All Blacks 15, like, union side? I don't think Fiji women's were that strong. I mean, they're decent. They got themselves the bronze medal at the last Olympics, so I feel like, in regards of, like, medal-wise, I feel like I should at least do some of the games that involve medalists from the last Olympics competition. Is there a women's sevens team for South Africa? There is indeed. They are taking part in the seven. Nadine Ruiz, one to, of course, look out for when you look at that South African women's side. So Basonia's third-string hooker now behind Taylor and Amor. Oh, I think they were just checking something, but it is all cleared. Favourite sevens and 15. So favourite sevens player for New Zealand. I mean, I love watching Akulia Rokaliso and the way that he is able to play out there on the field. I do like Leroy Carter as well in terms of the aggression that he shows. And then for the 15s, I mean, Savi is always a good watch, isn't he? And then, not sure who else I'll go with for the All Blacks. I guess there is a woman, team for women in South Africa. No way Fiji knock over Canada, New Zealand, or Australia. Though surely this year, that's a beautiful run from Zach Ward as he moves up to the halfway line. Another offload goes to Roach, who has to catch that ball. Has dropped it. Kulia Rokaliso. I think he's just kicked a man in the chest there for Mullins, unfortunately. It's going to be play on. Tony Nashu trying to get around that defensive line of Mullen. That is Brian, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know, as I learnt that just before. We have got there, don't doubt on Fiji. Says Sohan, and I imagine it will be tight, but New Zealand are probably the favourites. Says Brian. Yeah, they do come into slight favourites for this matchup, currently with that 5-0 lead as well. Good tackle made on Weber. Look for the offload. He's given the ball away, but they were playing penalty advantage. Rico is my favourite when he's actually awake, says JDB. Probably a fair statement. And yes, New Zealand says Makona there. And I'm always my favourite. But just because I know him, so I'm biased, says Eraser. And bloody hell, Discord got rid of my theory. Did it? Was it like too bad for Discord, Flesham? How bad was it? Because Discord doesn't remove anything, do they? Currently 15 seconds remaining in this first half. Like I said, the next game we are doing, it is going to be Australia taking on South Africa for the bronze medal. We will get to see the first medal awarded in the sevens. And then not too long after that, the big gold medal match, Fiji versus the French. I love, says Makona there. It's going to be the halftime siren, but there is still time for one more one more New Zealand scrum. No doubting Fiji. I would love to see DuPont achieve the goal he is chasing. Says Anthony. And that's the thing, for DuPont, like, of course he'd love the gold, but I feel like even the silver at this point would be massive for him in terms of the way that he's been able to help this French side improve. And I would be surprised if he wasn't in the starting lineup. Definitely after how we saw Stephen Perez-Martin play in the wet for the last game. Currently, Ireland are in position here. They're about 35 metres out from their line. New Zealand going for the counter ruck. They aren't able to get that ball back. Ireland want that try before the end of this first half. Terry Kennedy going across there to Mullen. Now Hugo Keenan. One more pass to Shane Mullins. Got himself 2 tries in the last contest for the Irish. And people say the Irish team's men's team is the best. Look at men's team in the Olympics. Says Razor. And centres equals Proctor and Anton Leonard-Brown. And wing Rico and Reese. Says JDB. Now Terry Kennedy again. Trying the aggressive run up the middle, but there's just no gap in this New Zealand defence at the moment for the Irish to go through. Here comes Hugo Keenan. Nice inside ball to Shane Mullins. It's going to be a foot race. Leroy Carter, he's given up, and Shane Mullins will jog it in to give Ireland 5 points in this first half. And now they have the opportunity to not just get those 5 points, but to get the sevens if there is a conversion that does go over. I'm pretty clueless when it comes to rugby sevens. Was surprised when I realised the game was only 14 minutes long. Says Aniki. Tell you what, it would be brutal, wouldn't it, if they had to play 80 minutes with only 7 of them on the field. I wonder what the longest game of sevens actually is, because I know that we've had games that have gone to extra time. I saved it and it's gone. Says Flesh in there, and I'm subbing him off. Says Razor, but the Fijians' ability to keep the ball alive in sevens is unmatched, says Anthony. Exactly right. The way that they can move that ball around, keep it flowing, and just, keep the momentum in their favour, it is absolutely fantastic to see. But yeah, I do not see it there for you, Fleshin, by the looks of it. And also, even 80 minutes with rolling subs would be tough, says Razor, and $100 bet on Ireland to win. Says Issa Kelly there, not being televised on Irish TV, which seems really strange, doesn't it? The fact that Ireland are in this match, yet it's not actually being shown. 80 minutes of 7, they'll be walking, says JDB, as BBC finally streaming the games. I believe so. I think they've finally caught up with the action. CBC is finally broadcasting sevens, but I got it on mute and listening to Kiwi Lad, says Awkward Monkey. Well, thank you very much, mate. What a comeback from the Bulls, from 327 to 36-27. Gee, so Western Province must have really taken their foot off the gas in that second half, if that is the case. Now, second half, about to get underway. I'm watching on CBC also. Alerts less CBC. And also, we have got there, especially with the schedules they have, sometimes 2 games a day. Yeah, you wouldn't make them play 2 games a day, though, if they had to play for 80 minutes. Love you, Hamish, but Ireland more lol, says Karma Pitch. I'm not offended by that, Karma. I'm sure you're hoping that they will get themselves the victory here. 7 points to 5 at the moment. It is in favour of the Irish. But there have been times before, even in this competition, that the Irish have had a lead over New Zealand till the final 30 seconds, and that is normally when New Zealand score their last points against Ireland. We have got there, no, says Makona. Well, that's the thing, you've got a $50 bet on New Zealand, someone else has a $100 bet on the Irish to win. It's going to be an interesting one. It's okay if Ireland win, it's not a quarterfinal cough, says JDB. And now Ireland to kick this one off again. Mark Roach going for the short kick off, trying to get it just the 10 metres. And Ireland managed to retain the ball. Now Mullen. Scott Curry makes the tackle. Back across to the left-hand side. Lobbed over the top. Roach. Back across now to Zach Ward. Anytime that man has possession, he just makes meters for fun. New Zealand managed to get the turnover though, and now they will go to the right-hand side. Leroy Carter, offload to Akulia Rokaliso, one of the best steps in the sevens game. And he unfortunately just couldn't quite get his next pass away for New Zealand's sake. Dylan Collier though, showing off his pace and his power round the side of the breakdown. Brady Rush gets over. And that'll be the try now for New Zealand, making it 10 points to 7. No, New Zealand losing, no, says Makona there. I'm so glad CBC have the Olympics. Grew up in Detroit watching the CBC for the Olympics almost exclusively, says Gus. Yeah, it was quite nice earlier on, because like for New Zealand, we've got Sky, and they have been doing a pretty decent job in terms of showing us like all of the Kiwi athletes and telling us when they are going to be competing. So earlier on today, I just had a screen split into 4 pretty much with different tabs open, watching the different events, which was quite nice because that's the thing. Last Olympics, because of the hecticness of the sevens circuit, we didn't actually get to really watch many of the early Olympics. So I'm trying to fix that here and watch quite a bit while I can. How show you in Auckland? I am not, no. Rokalasoa is the Sean Johnson of sevens. He has class, says Razor, but that kick has missed from New Zealand, so they will only be ahead by 3 as it currently sits. Nicely taken by the Irish. And the bronze and gold medal matches on 124 Open View channel, says Paul in there. I'm back across Mark Roach. Going out wide to Jack Kelly, who you almost wouldn't have known was in the starting lineup. First time that man has touched the ball. McNulty. Again, we'll go back to the right-hand side. Terry Kennedy trying to find that next gap. Ireland, though, they are inside of their 22 with a long way to go to get to a New Zealand's try line. But they also have plenty of time left in this match, almost 5 minutes remaining. They're only 5 metres out from their own try line now. Nice offload coming. Now Harry McNulty pinning his ears back. Does he have enough pace? Looks like he's doing extremely well to get up to 40 metres out from the line. Referee almost gets cleaned up by the Irish attack and run from Mullins. Now back across to the left-hand side, Jack Kelly. Tackle, Collier's hands were down, but he was almost neck rolled by Mark Roach. Back across again. Mullen goes to Keenan. One more to McNulty. Passes across to Mullen, and that will be the knock-on this time. Sean Johnson should have been the All Blacks fullback. I was about to lease his Makona there. And also Cook Savage has had a few defensive errors this tournament, noticing more and more. Says Razor Robinson. Because someone else who I've noticed defensively wasn't as good as I first thought was actually Tristan Lades for the South Africans. Like, when you really isolate a guy who you think might be a bit dodgy in defence, it's surprising how many times you see them miss tackles and how many times their teammates have to make up for that lack of defence. But, yeah, I mean, Tupaia Cook-Savage, the good news for him is he's very good on attack, so that at least evens out a little bit. Same with Tristan Lades, but defensively, you do want those guys who are going to make those last-ditch tackles for you. Andrew Newstub now going to the right-hand side here. He's had a very good tournament so far, Andrew Newstub, but you can see how gutted he was after New Zealand were knocked out of the gold medal contention, especially in sevens. Defensive errors are amplified. Yeah, if you can't tackle in sevens, you're pretty in trouble because people will notice, and then that's where they target every single time that they can. Brady Rush back across to the right-hand side here for New Zealand. Moving it down towards this near touchline. Fihi Finina-Norfo. Tackled low. That was pretty close to getting the turnover. Here comes Tupaia Cook-Savage. Great step. Offload on the inside. He gets the assist away to Moses Leo. And that'll be another try now for the New Zealanders. And that would almost be enough if this was Union and you only had 2 minutes remaining. But because this is sevens, anything can happen. And this game is not over yet. And Beauty says Awkward Monkey in there as well. The next game, 12 minutes time. The match between South Africa and Australia will be kicking off, ladies and gentlemen. We are covering that one on the channel as well. South Africa looking like they've gone with a very similar lineup to what they went with in their last game. And it does look like Australia are pretty similar too. But we will be, of course, breaking that down when we transfer over to their live stream. Good work, New Zealand. Says Blues Nate. Nice work from Tupaia Cook-Savage. Get the offload away to Moses Leo. Runs it in and gets the try for the Kiwis. All right, we will go like this. We will go like that as well. There we go. New Zealand in position again somehow. Brady Rush. Oh, no, we're going back for a penalty here for New Zealand. Quick tap taken by Tupaia Cook-Savage. Gets it across to Sione Molia. Now Newstub with a Waikato pass. Curry takes possession and now cuts inwards. Tackled by Mullen Low. Almost found himself in an offside position. Fihi Finina-Norfo gets dragged down. They just mentioned that he's about 30 kgs lighter than he was the other day. Hi, Hamish, I'm rubbing my man nips, says the doctor. Good on you. Are you concreting today, Hamish, says Razor? Luckily not. Did concrete on Friday. Did also work about, I think it was 7 or 8 hours on that day. And then the day before, we also worked about 7 or 8. And then we were streaming all throughout the nights. I think I was running off about maybe an hour and a half sleep both days. So, yeah. That was the knee going the wrong way for Scott Curry there, unfortunately. That did not look too flash in the slow motion replay. Hyperextension of the knee. And that's such a shame as well. In the final game of a competition, we saw it for Japan and Uruguay. Oh no, he's saying he's good, is he? Yeah, he's just going to walk it off by the looks of Scott Curry. But, when you look at that Uruguay-Japan game, I think there were about 3 guys that got injured, and that's a horrible injury. It is, but he's going to continue playing. If anyone had any doubts, I mean, the last competition was the perfect example of Scott Curry having that tough as nails mindset. But the fact that he's going to continue after hyperextending his knee, the man is just on another level in terms of his pain tolerance and also his ability to just keep going. Average to concreting in Melbourne, $100 per hour. Geez, that'd be all right, wouldn't it? Is he retiring after this? I think he's getting close to it, but He will want to keep on playing for as long as he can. He's still walking it off in the background. New Zealand may get themselves another try here, though. Little flick out the back door. But it doesn't go into the hands of Mulia, or at least it did hit the hand, but just didn't stick. We have got there, can get into these type of rugby too fast, or can't get into these type of rugby, says Dennis. What medication is he on? Sheesh, says D-Stars. Yeah, that man just keeps on going and going, doesn't he? Scott Curry, because he did it in another tournament. We thought that maybe he should have gone off, yet he continued playing and eventually helped New Zealand get the win. The Hello Kiwi Lads family, Blues Nate, Robert Razor, and the rest. Says a doctor, New Zealand has won. Says a blue here. Yeah, there isn't enough time in this match for Ireland to get their comeback. Once again, they will be defeated by the All Blacks Sevens. New Zealand are too good. Should win this easily, says Des Meyer. You know, Ireland have made it challenging. They always do in these matches, and I wouldn't be surprised if they get a last-minute try here. It's going to be thrown in by the Irish. Hugo Lennox just swarmed by New Zealand, but the penalty goes against them. Now, Niall Comerford goes across Mullins, looping around. Ireland just seem to have lacked a little bit of pace, and Terry Kennedy, unfortunately, the man who drops the ball. So that will be the end of this contest, ladies and gents. New Zealand get themselves the 5th place finish, and Ireland will finish 6th. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. We are now transferring over to our next live stream, which will be Australia taking on South Africa in the bronze medal final. But I do thank you all very much for tuning in, and I will see you all for the